Clemson Hotline is on the air. A one-hour talk show giving Clemson fans a power hour of Tiger sports talk. Clemson Hotline is presented by y'all.com and brought to you by Amtrak. Clemson Hotline is direct from Tiger Country on a network of radio stations across the great state of South Carolina. And as always, a podcast edition of our show is available for download in iTunes. Hello, everyone. I'm Lawton Swan. Welcome back into the program. Another powerful hour full of Clemson sports talk for you right here. The Clemson Tigers come up a bit short in the series, losing 2-1 to the South Carolina Gamecocks. But on the scoreboard, they were smashed in Game 1 and in Game 3. And the Gamecocks take the season series against the Tigers and the overall wins in all sports for the past 7 years. They've won the series for 7 years against Clemson in all sports. So as the football team goes for the past 4 seasons, say that quickly a few times, so too does the Clemson Tiger sports, all programs, I guess, technically, against the South Carolina Gamecocks. It stinks. I know. I don't even know what to say about it. But you got to look at the side of things that say, hey, the South Carolina Gamecocks are the number 7 ranked team in college baseball. They're a very good program right now. But boy, oh boy, am I tired of licking my wounds. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Clemson Hotline right here on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network.
If you depend on prescription opioid painkillers or heroin to get through each day, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Withdrawal and rehab seem like scary and difficult roads, but there is a different way. I know because I was just like you and I found it at turntohelpnow.com. At turntohelpnow.com, I learned about different ways to get help, including those in a private setting without the need for daily visits. Find your courage and go to turntohelpnow.com today.
A winning team requires having great team members. If you're a landowner interested in selling timber or are considering buying or selling land, call the winning team of Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty, LLC today. Put the knowledge and skills of professional licensed foresters and realtors to work for your team. To learn more about services offered by Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty, LLC, visit www.crosscreektimber.com and easily follow the link to real estate or reach them by phone 864-517-3620 or 864-517-3621.
That's the sound of Selsun Science wiping out dandruff. Introducing Selsun Blue Sensitive Scalp. Feel it get to the root of dandruff and gently whisk scalp irritation away with soothing vitamins B5, E, and essential oils. Now when you style your hair, it feels oh so good to the touch. New Selsun Blue Sensitive Scalp. Science for your scalp. Use as directed.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-838-5562. That's 1-800-838-5562. Call 1-800-838-5562.
Want to hear the sound of hassle-free traveling?
All aboard!
Amtrak takes the hassle out of traveling to over 500 destinations. You can stretch out in a spacious seat, relax in a sleeping car, and enjoy a hot meal in the dining car. And for those who want to kick back and take in the scenery, go right ahead. For everything you get on Amtrak, the one thing you won't get is this. So whether you're going to a family reunion or an away game, make it a whole lot nicer on Amtrak. Book your trip today at Amtrak.com or call 1-800-USA-RAIL.
All aboard!
G-Dog General Dentistry at Oak Grove is located on Highway 1 near the Barnyard Flea Market. Modern, relaxing dentistry with TVs and headphones in every room, nitrous and even oral sedation. Digital diagnostic x-rays for better quality and 85% less radiation exposure. And check out their new Clemson Patient Special. Mention that you heard about G-Dog here on the Clemson Sports Talk programs and receive an extra 5% off all services through football season. If you don't have a regular dentist, go see my dentist, Dr. Rick Jackson at G-Dog. That's General Dentistry at Oak Grove. Familiar ping of college baseball? Well, guess what? You don't have to miss a single game of Clemson Tiger baseball, as you can stay at the closest hotel to Doug Kingsmore Stadium, the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn. Rooms are available for baseball season with lakeside accommodations, complimentary continental breakfast, bar, Seasons Restaurant by the lake, Joe's Place Bar, and the Walker Golf Course. All are waiting for you right around the corner from the stadium. For reservations, contact General Manager Sharon Franks at Sharon F. at Clemson.edu or call toll-free 1-888-654-9020 and ask to speak to Sharon. It's the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn. Go to www.clemsonuniversityinn.com. That's right. Why do they build you up? Just to let you down. The Clemson Tiger baseball team comes away with a 6-3 win in game number 2 played at Fluor Field in Greenville after losing game 1 6-0 to the South Carolina Gamecocks. And in some ways, I think many Clemson Tiger fans, you looked at the series, you knew what the recent history has been between these two, and you just hoped that Sunday's contest against the South Carolina Gamecocks would be a win for the Tigers, a win for the series, and maybe begin to build some of that momentum that many of us have really been hoping to get back in our favor, especially in college baseball against the South Carolina Gamecocks. Look, you can't deny the fact that the Gamecocks are one of, if not the best team in college baseball. They've played for the national championship 3 consecutive seasons. They eliminated Clemson last year in Columbia. And, you know, as much as we would like to look in the mirror and reflect and say it's all on us, honestly, some of it just has to do with the fact that South Carolina is better right now. And not just better than Clemson, better than a lot of teams. And that's a tough pill to swallow. And I'm never going to tell you to stand for that and to sit idly by and say, oh, well, that's okay, Coach Leggett, because South Carolina's really good. That's okay, Coach Leggett. South Carolina's a great team, and we excuse it. I mean, obviously, if you don't realize that South Carolina is a better baseball team than Clemson,
You can't handle the truth.
because that is the truth. And this is a young Clemson team. There are some things about this ball club that I like, some things that we've seen so far this year that I really like, but there are a couple of things that I don't like, and a couple of things that continue to rear their ugly heads against the South Carolina Gamecocks, most notably in Game 1 and Game 3, where Clemson allowed errors in the field, not just to occur, which is a bad product of errors nonetheless. You don't win a lot of games when you make a lot of mistakes. But Clemson allowed errors in the field to take away any momentum that they had and actually allowed the wheels to fall off in a couple of circumstances against the South Carolina Gamecocks with those errors, leading to what was an 8-0 victory on Sunday. Now, all total in the series, Clemson was outscored 20-3 by the South Carolina Gamecocks. 20-3. That's ugly. That's not pretty baseball for Clemson. You don't score any runs at beautiful Tiger Field. You don't score any runs in Carolina Stadium. The only runs you score on a neutral site in the entire series. You know, I'm not a huge baseball fan, and you guys know this. And let me tell you, if you want to take part in the show, if you want to tell us what you think about the Clemson Tiger baseball team, feel free. Hashtag TNTalk on Twitter. That's hashtag TNTalk. The other ways you can reach us are at Clemson81@gmail.com, and the phone lines are open. 803-450-0086. 803-450-0086. If you want to vent, if you want to get out some frustration about this team, please feel free. We'd love to talk with you about it. But you all know that I am not a huge baseball fan at all. College, professional, T-ball, Pee Wee League, whatever. I'm just not a big fan. And really never have been. And it's kind of sad because my dad played baseball at Wofford and really enjoys the game to this day. He doesn't watch professional, but he will watch every opportunity that he gets to watch the Clemson Tigers. And I almost want to compare it to a dental visit for me. And not because it pains me to watch the Clemson Tigers right now because maybe they haven't won games that you expect them to win. For example, losing on Wednesday to Winthrop. We've seen those Wednesday midweek games not being good for Clemson as of late. But college baseball just drags on. And so that maybe it does. Maybe it is pains me. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. But one thing that I really fail to recognize or understand fully about baseball, I get the small ball mentality. I get that. I get the fact that in this new era of college baseball and Clemson not having maybe some of the better bats in college baseball, and I mean batters at the plate, the bats obviously are a big issue, taking away some of that, as I say in the commercial for the Clemson University Conference Center and in that old familiar ping, if you miss that. But Clemson seems to, and I debate this a lot with myself, is it worth the sacrifice at times in games? When you have two runners on, for example, like Clemson did early in this ballgame against South Carolina, man on first, man on second, is it smart baseball to sacrifice a player there early in the game? Like, look, don't get me wrong. I get it. Late in the game, 8th inning, tie ball game, you're trying to push across a run. I get it. I get small ball. I get bunting there. I get sacrificing a player. But early in a game that you really need a win to get some momentum, early in a game like that, is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, some people would say it might drive you to drink watching Clemson Tiger baseball right now. They're up, they're down. Speaking of that, chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug. How about the Clemson Tiger basketball team? Oh, my goodness. You talk about ugly. And wait till you hear the words that Milton Jennings said after the North Carolina game. You'll love it. Unbelievable. Stay with us.
Me and him and this other fool decide that we'll drink up what's left. Chug-a-lug, so help thyself. First time for everything. My ears still ring. Chug-a-lug, chug-a-lug.
They're playing basketball. We love that basketball. They're playing basketball. We love that basketball. They're playing basketball. We love that.
If there's a better basketball song out there, and I don't know what year this one came out, but that's a great jam. Well, the Clemson Tiger basketball team go on the road to Virginia Tech and lose on senior night for the Hokies, 69-61. And this basketball team, look, we've known for a while they're not a great ball club. I don't think that's a question that many of you would have. One, you've got to factor in, and we said it on the show last week, if you'll remember, that I really thought that KJ McDaniel's ankle injury was worse than expected, that he had continued to kind of re-injure it, and I felt like we may not see him in some ball games. And, of course, we did not see him in the ball game against Virginia Tech or in the loss against North Carolina, which, of course, is one of those games where obviously you're outmatched. If you think you're going to go into games against North Carolina and Duke and play their style of basketball, if you're going to out-Duke Duke, or you're going to out North Carolina, you've got to have shooters. And Clemson doesn't have shooters. We don't really have anybody who is a legitimate threat from the perimeter. And I know Jordan Roper has all the confidence in the world, and I'm very proud of that young man for the way he stepped up as of late for Clemson. But he had a rough game against North Carolina. Now, he did play a little bit better against Virginia Tech. Oddly enough, a game on the road, and we know how the road has been for the Clemson Tigers throughout this entire basketball season. But Jordan Roper's been a guy who you can begin to count on a little bit. And I've also noted the fact that KJ McDaniels has done a good job when available stepping out and shooting the three. But unfortunately for Clemson, both of these games mirrored each other to some degree in that losing 68 to 59 against North Carolina. You know, Clemson fights, they cut leads, they scratch and claw to get back into the ball game, and they continually come up short. And what hurts the most, I think, when you look at this team, is that you get so excited when you see progress. You get so excited when you see a guy like Jordan Roper coming alive. Maybe it's Adonis Filer, these freshmen making plays, getting drives to the basket. But you get tired of hearing some of the same old things. Rod Hall's on the court, and he's constantly referred to by the announcers as a non-shooter. A non-shooter. Now let's think about what that means. Obviously in football, you don't have to be great at carrying the football if you play on the defensive side of the ball. But basketball, much like baseball, is a sport where you have to be offensive and defensive. And we have a guy on the court that's considered a non-shooter who plays for 36 minutes. The second most minutes of any player in the game is a non-shooter. You're basically playing 5-on-4 on the offensive end of the floor. And that's a known fact. You could see defensively Virginia Tech in this ballgame against Clemson. You could see them, Eric Green most notably, who is leading America in scoring right now. He had 29 points in this ballgame and probably will win the scoring title nationally this season based on what he's done so far with the limited amount of games left. But this Virginia Tech team knows that Rod Hall can't score. And not so much because Rod cannot shoot the basketball. It's more or less because Rod Hall doesn't shoot the basketball. If you were to look at a grid of the number of outside shots he gives you from 13 feet and beyond, it's very few. Rod Hall is most comfortable driving to the basket and trying to score in close. And that's his game, and everybody knows it. And he's out there for 36 minutes. 5-on-4 basically on the offensive end. You're not going to win that way. And it does help when you see an Adonis Filer who's a little bit more willing to pull up and shoot from deep. He did take three-point field goals in this game. And sometimes it's even if Rod Hall would shoot those shots, if he would just take those shots, it would help the offense because it would keep people honest. But because he doesn't, because he only penetrates and very rarely pulls up, it allows the defenses to cheat. And it makes it very hard to win. And you're not going to, as I said earlier, you're not going to out-Duke the Dukes and the North Carolinas of the world. And you most certainly can beat the Virginia Techs of the world. But with 31 seconds or so left in the game, you're down by 3. Adonis Filer has been playing great. He goes to the free throw line and goes 0 for 2. And you don't realize, I think, at that moment how big that is. But when you realize that 3 turns to 5 and now the game's over. I mean, obviously as a fan you realize it. But, you know, as Filer steps to the line down 3, he feels it. You know he feels it. But he's had a great game so far. And with 2 misses, you're still down 3 with 31 seconds. But money in the bank at the free throw line was Virginia Tech. And there you have it. I mean, you're down 5 all of a sudden. And what do? How do you fight and scratch? How do you claw back in? You can't. It's too late. And you were right there on the cusp of picking up another win. Clemson now 13-15 overall, 5-11 in ACC play, defeated by the worst team in the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Virginia Tech Hokies, who came into the game at 3-12 in conference play. It's hard. It's hard because I think we expect to see some more development from these guys. And finally, I say you can't out-Duke Duke. Should we ever – we look good, I think, playing up-tempo defensively, really putting high pressure on people. I felt like defensively we picked things up on the other end of the court. And some of these guys, obviously the two seniors, were recruited to play that style of basketball, and we seem to really thrive in it. I don't know that we could run with some of the major ball clubs in our league up and down the floor, game in, game out, playing an up-tempo style, really pressing. But maybe that's what we need to do against the Virginia Techs of this league, the Georgia Techs. Oddly enough, a Georgia Tech team that Clemson will probably play in the opening round of the Atlantic Coast Conference tournament. I mean, against the bottom-tier teams, maybe that's what we could do to differentiate ourselves and get into the upper echelon of this league. It's not like we're great. It's not like we're even close to being great. But is there a great team in this league? Is Miami great? Is Duke great? Is North Carolina great? I don't think they are. This is one of those down seasons for college basketball. And if Clemson could just find something that works, something defensively, I'd be a whole lot more satisfied. I mean, we play good defense. But we need more shots and more opportunities. And up-tempo might cause that. Getting a press, getting some steals, and forcing turnovers could cause it. Stay with us.
At Hotels.com, we've got thousands of deals for every occasion. And to celebrate spring, we've got low prices on your favorite getaways. But what could we call such a fantastic sale? The I'm so happy it's finally spring I could dance sale? The man I love a quick weekend getaway sale? The grab the camera because it's family vacation time sale? How about just the spring sale? That about sums it up.
Now through April 1st, save up to 30% on your favorite destinations. Book now only at Hotels.com, finding you the perfect place at the perfect price.
There's something about looking and feeling classy that everyone enjoys. Check out Edisto Outdoors, an apparel brand inspired by our southern animals and environment. These shirts feature soft-touch prints that will keep you looking your best in all types of weather. Look for Edisto Outdoors coming soon to many fine retailers across the state, or visit www.edistooutdoors.com. Technical, comfortable, livable.
Some nights I can't get to sleep. Some nights I can't stay asleep. With Unisom, I can do both.
Unisom sleep tabs are clinically proven to help you fall asleep 33% faster and keep you asleep longer, so you get a more restful night's sleep. Made with an ingredient not found in other leading sleep aids, Unisom sleep tabs are safe and non-habit forming. Just one pill takes the uncertainty out of bedtime, giving you the sleep you need.
So I wake up ready to go.
Unisom sleep tabs. Fall asleep faster. Sleep longer.
Hey there, Tiger fans. When you take yourself out to the ball game, make sure that you're staying at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn. That's right, it's the closest hotel to Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Lakeside accommodations, complimentary continental breakfast bar with waffles, the Seasons by the Lake restaurant, Joe's Place Bar, and the Walker Golf Course are all waiting for you right around the corner from Doug Kingsmore Stadium. For reservations, contact General Manager Sharon Franks at sharonf@clemson.edu or call 1-888-654-9020 and ask to speak to Sharon. Buy yourself some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, but make sure that you stay at the Clemson University Conference Center and Inn.
Don't you just hate paying for things you don't need? Man, I do. And that's why I'm here to tell you about PennyBackup.com. We all know about those big companies that allow us to back up computer files and data to a safe place on the web, and that's great. But what makes me crazy is that they make me pay for gigabytes of storage that I don't need. PennyBackup.com is here to the rescue with the same features, the same data protection, the same services, but you pay only 8.9 cents for every gigabyte used. Heck, that's less than a dime per gigabyte. PennyBackup.com continually backs up your data and files, and if your computer gets stepped on by an elephant or your hard drive crashes, you'll be able to download all of your important data to a new computer immediately. And PennyBackup.com is as safe as the other guys. It just costs a lot less at 8.9 cents per gigabyte. Want more proof? Go to PennyBackup.com for a free 30-day trial and see for yourself. See how much money you'll save for no loss of service or security. It's PennyBackup.com.
G-Dog General Dentistry at Oak Grove is located on Highway 1 near the Barnyard Flea Market. Modern, relaxing dentistry with TVs and headphones in every room, nitrous and even oral sedation. Digital diagnostic x-rays for better quality and 85% less radiation exposure. And check out their new Clemson Patient Special. Mention that you heard about G-Dog here on the Clemson Sports Talk programs and receive an extra 5% off all services through football season. If you don't have a regular dentist, go see my dentist, Dr. Rick Jackson at G-Dog. That's General Dentistry at Oak Grove. All you Clemson area and Clemson-owned businesses, listen up. We've got a package for you. Rates starting at just $100 a month to advertise with us here on Clemson Sports Talk. You won't believe what you'll get. Go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Click on the advertising information. If you're interested, email us, Clemson81@gmail.com. We can tailor a package to fit your needs, but starting rates at $100 a month, you can't beat it. Why don't you join us? Go Tigers.
Remember all the stories growing up as a kid about Refrigerator Perry and just how hard he hit.
Speaking of Refrigerator Perry, you don't want to miss this Wednesday night show of TigerNet Talk, 9 p.m. right here on ClemsonSportsTalk.com and also on TigerNet.com. Let me tell you, TigerNet Talk probably has the most intriguing, I would say, guest we've ever had. I mean, I know we've had the C.J. Spillers of the world, and we've had the Woody Dancers of Clemson Tiger football history. Michael Dean Perry. And you talk about a guy for a second who always, I think to some degree, lived in his brother's shadow at Clemson. Nationally speaking, you know, it's funny because if you told somebody, hey, I'm having William Perry on the show, they go, oh, the Refrigerator, how's he doing? I told somebody I was having Michael Dean Perry on the show. Now, this was not a big Clemson fan by any means, but they're like, who? And you're like, Refrigerator Perry's brother. Oh, he played football? Now, look, I know, you guys, you Clemson people, you understand, you know who he is. But a lot of people don't, and it's kind of odd because he had a great career in the NFL. Cannot wait till Wednesday to have him on. Let me tell you, if you want to ask him some questions, I see that KRE25 in the chat room's already got a question in tonight's program lined up in the screen queue. You can do that during the show on Wednesday. You can also tweet to us questions throughout the week, hashtag TN Talk. Follow us on Twitter. We're at Clemson Sports. It's Clemson news, notes, information, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's at Clemson Sports on Twitter. Or email us, Clemson81@gmail.com. Does that email address get any easier? Could it possibly be any easier? Clemson81@gmail.com. And give us a call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 803-450-0086. Leave your message for Michael Dean if you want, or go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com. Click on the voicemail feature over on the right-hand side. Wow. Did I get all that in? I think I did. I think you all know how to contact the show now. If not, if you're listening to the podcast edition, just rewind it. You can always do that. And I know our numbers have been down on Sunday nights here on Clemson Hotline, mostly because many of you are Walking Dead fans. I get it. I love the show too. But program your DVR and come on into the chat room with the folks here asking great questions. KRE25 in the chat room wants to know, with losing Booker, how many wins in 2013, 2014 for Clemson? Schedule will be tougher. I see 3 to 4 ACC wins. Here's the thing, and I want to address this appropriately. One, you know my belief in KJ McDaniels as a player on the court. Defensively, he makes a difference. I really, this is an unfair comparison to make because athletically, speaking and basketball skill-wise and dominant levels, they're not the same. But KJ McDaniels is the LeBron James of Clemson Tiger basketball. And what I mean by that is this. He has supreme confidence in himself. He runs the floor hard. If he makes a mistake, he gets back. He can change shots on the defensive end of the court. I wish he was LeBron James. He is not. He is far from it. He's far from that great. But that's who he is for Clemson. And he is a difference maker when he's on the court. It's not to say if he played against North Carolina this past week, Clemson wins. It's not to say if he plays against Virginia Tech this past week, Clemson wins. I don't believe that. I don't think he's that much of a difference maker. Maybe Virginia Tech we win with him on the court. He's good enough for that to have happened. But that's who he is. That's the type player he is. He hustles all the time. You can't say that for everybody on this team. That's one thing. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. Secondly, I know losing Booker is going to be huge. I know you don't really look at losing a guy like Milton Jennings as, quote, huge, but definitely all of a sudden when you lose your top two big men, it is going to cause a little bit of trouble. Obviously, the offseason development, in my mind, of Landry Noko is going to be the biggest thing that Clemson has to deal with and that the Clemson Tiger basketball team really has to work on. He doesn't have to be an offensive weapon at all, though. I think if he can be a stopper, if he can play 30 minutes a game and just be a force on the inside, blocking shots and rebounding, that's all we need out of him next year. He doesn't have to be a low-post scoring presence. You can win ball games without that. You can win games without that. So I think you take, as I've said before, you take a KJ McDaniels, you add in a Devin Coleman who's currently injured. When he comes back, he is a nice player. Reminds me of a lot of a KC Rivers. That's the kind of style game that he has in my mind. Maybe not as good of a shooter from the perimeter, but definitely a guy who can create his own shot. Jerron Blossomgame, if he's as good as everybody expects, if he can come in and play, the 3-star recruit out of Alpharetta, Georgia, if he can come in and play, he's a little bit undersized at 6'7", but if he can give you something, some quality minutes, okay, let's factor him into the equation too. And then the young guards. I think the one thing you've really got to see here, you've got Rod Hall, who's going to continue to be out there. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He doesn't cause a lot of mistakes. He'll be a junior. And then you've got the two freshmen that will then be sophomores in Filer and Roper. I think there are more wins than 3 to 4 next season for this Clemson Tiger team, to be honest with you. I think it can be a much better ball club than we have this year, even losing a guy like Booker. And briefly, can I talk about Booker and the unbelievably good-looking sideburns? I know these guys, a lot of them are taking it back to the old school with the high-top fade, looking like Kid and Play. I like the hairstyles now. But how about Booker rolling with like the 1978 Burnsides? Almost, I mean, they're way down here. I love it. He looks, if there was some like 1970 retro music playing when he ran out, you'd think you were there. You'd think you'd hit a warp zone on the, you'd gotten in the DeLorean there with Marty McFly and gone back. I mean, that's how good those sideburns look on that guy. Not everybody can pull those off. Devin Booker, sir, keep that look going. I like it. There might be some people out there that don't. I enjoy it. And finally, before we wrap up this segment, let me speak on this. I guess I could always let my main man, Peter Griffin, introduce this segment.
I've been wanting to talk to you about something.
Milton Jennings, Clemson's version of MJ. Is I play on LeBron James there with KJ McDaniels earlier. Okay, not MJ by any means. Way short of Michael Jordan. But Milton Jennings said, as a senior, this is after the North Carolina game, as a senior, we are told to call our guys out. Me and Book played really hard, and I'm just upset at our urgency in such a big game. Wasn't there. I remember being at half court looking at it. It was an ugly basketball game. It was our worst second half all year. Milton, there's a big problem with your statement, my friend, and that is this. You cannot say that you're disappointed with the play and you remember being at half court looking at it. Get up and down the floor. Run the floor hard. Give that effort that KJ McDaniels gives when he's in the ball game. Look, last week we talked about Milton. We talked about the waffles and putting peanut butter on them and his rough life growing up and how people would feel sorry for him. The reason people don't, or maybe people would have felt sorry for him had they known that story a little bit earlier in his career, the reason that people don't feel sorry for Milton Jennings is because every time you turn around, he says something that makes you say, good grief. Get your foot out of your mouth, Milton, and get up and down the basketball court. That's all we ask. Hustle. You can't say that you're getting on the guys because and that you were playing really hard when you then go on to say that you remember being at half court looking at it. After you put up a shot, how about instead of fading away and falling off, head in for an offensive rebound every once in a while. People are fed up with it. They truly are fed up with it. Quote, Doug says, it's ridiculous. That guy takes 9 out of 10 games off, and last night was definitely one of them, speaking of the UNC game. I watched lazy, slow, lackadaisical movement from him all night long. I watched pass after pass whiz by his head without even getting his hands up. Never gets in this man's face while jumpers are drained in his face. Never fights for rebounds. He only gets them if they come straight to him. Basically, he's terrible. Those are harsh words about Milton Jennings, but it's a feeling that a lot of people have because of this constant mouth that runs without being able to back it up. And you can't say that. You can't say we were hustling and then say that I was at half court watching it. Because people see those things. People recognize that. And it's frustrating. I put out a tweet the other day, and I said I'm being so honest when I say this. Clemson basketball is always the same. You get down, you fight back, you miss free throws, and you lose. And it's happened time and time again. And it is oh so frustrating. We'll be back to give you some of the responses we got from that tweet right after these messages.
And I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. But that train keeps a-rolling on down to San Antone.
It's the Clemson Hotline here on the John C. Calhoun Radio Network, brought to you by Amtrak and y'all.com. Thank you for being here with us once again. I'm your host, Lawton Swan. Final segment of the show, 15 minutes and some change remaining here in the program. And I really do thank you for stopping by. Don't miss this Wednesday, 9 p.m., Michael Dean Perry, former Clemson Tiger football great, will be our guest on the program. You will not want to miss it. Michael Dean Perry is one of those guys, as I mentioned earlier. He's a bit of an enigma because he's very hard to catch up with, very hard to find. He's not on Twitter. I do have some idea of some of the things he's been up to. I know he has gotten into the restaurateur business, owning several Subway restaurants. But other than that, I don't know a whole lot about him, and it's quite difficult to find what he's been doing since his playing days are over. But I can't wait to catch up with him, and I hope you'll spread the word. Please go out, tweet to people, tell them about the show. Let them know that we're going to have Michael Dean Perry here with us. Put a hashtag Clemson, whatever it takes to get to those Clemson people. And tell them you want them to be here with us live so they can ask him questions. As always, 803-450-0086. But as we went to break, I left you with my tweet of being honest about Clemson basketball. We get down, we fight back, we miss free throws, and we lose. And free throws are oh so valuable and so not free for Clemson people. At Clem Tiger Matt, a loyal listener to the program, says, I'll be there, brother, and spread the word. Appreciate it, Matt. Let everybody know about Michael Dean Perry coming on the show. But it was Richard. He's at Sump Edwards 53. That's SUMP Edwards 53 on Twitter. He sent us a little note here to say that injuries have been a killer on this team with not much room for error. Booker will be hard to replace. And I agree, and that's kind of the question that was asked in the chat room by Richard, a similar question. And my problem is, and I know that I'm going to struggle, and he talks about adding Rooks and Ajakua. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not fantastic with names or pronunciation by any means, the young man out of Cardinal Newman. The problem I have with him, with Austin Ajakua out of Cardinal Newman, is that I have heard similar things to him, about him, that I heard about Milton Jennings as Milton prepared to come to Clemson. And that's a scary prospect for me. And I hope that it's different because Milton Jennings turned out to be a lot of what I heard about him before he got there. You say, well, what things are you hearing about Austin? Attitude. Barking at the refs, a lack of hustle. Those are things that you have to change to become a winner. You have to look at yourself first. It's not going to happen. The outside influences are all around you, but it all starts with you. And that concerns me a little bit when I'm hearing many of the same things about this young man that I heard about Milton Jennings. And when we heard them about Milton Jennings, and when I did, I said, you know what? No, that can't be true. Why would Clemson be all over this guy if that were the case? If he were, say, a head case to some degree. I hope it's not the same for the young man out of Cardinal Newman High School in Columbia, South Carolina. But I am hearing a lot of the same things. Brian says, is anyone seeing any progress or improvement in this team over the last few years? I know they're young, but they're scrappy, as most Clemson teams are. I just hope that we'd see some progress towards the next level, a la VCU. You can follow Brian on Twitter. He's at MEDEI Rob. MEDEI Rob on Twitter. Thank you to both of you guys for sending us tweets back on that topic. And they are scrappy. They do hustle. They play hard, especially the young guys. And I think that's why I get so frustrated at times with Milton Jennings, because I don't see that scrap, that hustle, getting on the floor, going after loose balls. Every once in a while, Milton will show you some of that. And it festers, doesn't it? It just festers, and you put so much emotion into these games. You put so much into believing. And look, you're going to listen to a lot of people talking about Clemson Tiger sports in your life, no doubt about it. And I don't know whether you're listening in Columbia, Greenville, Charleston, Clemson, Fort Mill, Barnwell. It doesn't matter, Beaufort, where you're listening to this show. The thing I'm going to tell you, and you may not get this from the other people you listen to, look, I am a Clemson guy. I'm not just a guy talking about Clemson. My great-grandfather graduated from Clemson in 1912. It's been in my blood my entire life. I don't just talk about them 2 nights a week, Sunday nights at 9, Wednesday nights at 9. I live it. I sleep, eat, and breathe Clemson Tiger sports, just like you. You're not going to tune in to our programs and hear us talking about the Yankees or Notre Dame or Texas A&M. I mean, we're going to talk about them in the context, such as when a guy like Dylan Sumner Gardner commits to Texas A&M, former Clemson Tiger commit, is now committed to Texas A&M. We'll throw that nugget in there, that note every once in a while. Will that stick? Who knows with these guys these days. But we are Clemson Tiger sports. That's what we're going to be talking about here on Clemson Sports Talk, whether it's the show Clemson Hotline, the one you're listening to, or TigerNet Talk. That's who we are. And I have the same pains that you have. Look, I get up in front of the TV in tight ball games, if need be. I'm the fans standing in the crowd. I'm just like you. I'm no different. And when we see guys who are emotionally and you feel like they're invested in this program and they're on the floor, it pains me to see guys who aren't, and I hate when we lose these games. KRE25 says, Booker's look is it equals the 1970s Walt Clyde Frazier. I wish I had some what would be a song? I was getting ready to go to commercial break, and I'm sitting here thinking, what song can I go out to that would be 1975 Walt Clyde Frazier? All right, here's one. Let's try this one. That's not what I was hoping for. That's the wrong soul man. I was hoping this was I'm a Soul Man. Is that what this is? I can't sing. It's obvious. We'll be back. Blake Austin of South Carolina Farm Bureau is an insurance agent you can count on to meet all your needs. Home, auto, health, life, you name it, Blake's got you covered, and he can save you on your yearly rates. Call him now for a free quote, 803-259-5008. That's 803-259-5008. Or just go to ClemsonSportsTalk.com and click on the Farm Bureau logo to be connected to Blake. Do like I do and work with the best agent around, and you can tweet that.
That's the sound of Selsun Science wiping out dandruff. Introducing Selsun Blue Sensitive Scalp. Feel it get to the root of dandruff and gently whisk scalp irritation away with soothing vitamins B5, E, and essential oils. Now when you style your hair, it feels oh so good to the touch. New Selsun Blue Sensitive Scalp. Science for your scalp. Use as directed.
Want to hear the sound of hassle-free traveling?
All aboard!
Amtrak takes the hassle out of traveling to over 500 destinations. You can stretch out in a spacious seat, relax in a sleeping car, and enjoy a hot meal in the dining car. And for those who want to kick back and take in the scenery, go right ahead. For everything you get on Amtrak, the one thing you won't get is this. So whether you're going to a family reunion or an away game, make it a whole lot nicer on Amtrak. Book your trip today at Amtrak.com or call 1-800-USA-RAIL.
All aboard!
If you depend on prescription opioid painkillers or heroin to get through each day, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Withdrawal and rehab seem like scary and difficult roads, but there is a different way. I know because I was just like you and I found it at turntohelpnow.com. At turntohelpnow.com, I learned about different ways to get help, including those in a private setting without the need for daily visits. Find your courage and go to turntohelpnow.com today.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-838-5562. That's 1-800-838-5562. Call 1-800-838-5562.
A winning team requires having great team members. If you're a landowner interested in selling timber or are considering buying or selling land, call the winning team of Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty, LLC today. Put the knowledge and skills of professional, licensed foresters and realtors to work for your team. To learn more about the forestry and real estate services offered by Cross Creek Timber, call 864-517-3620 and Cross Creek Realty, LLC at 864-517-3621. Or visit www.crosscreektimber.com and easily follow the link to real estate. Final segment of the show, about 4 minutes or so here remaining in the Clemson Hotline, and I want to thank everybody who's here watching the show live with us on Spreecast. We've had some big shows with big attendance in the past, but we've taken a bit of a hit since college football season ended on our Sunday night programs. Wednesday nights typically, though, a much better and bigger crowd. I hope you'll join us. Don't forget, I've said it a couple of times, you know who'll be here. Michael Dean Perry. Got some great questions on tap for him. And I also want to let you know that you can ask any question you want to him. Email us, clemson81@gmail.com. We'll ask him your question. Ask it in the chat room on the show Wednesday. We'll ask him. Or call us and leave us a message during the week before Wednesday, and we'll play it to him on the show if you need to, or call us live during the show. But it's 803-450-0086 is the way you can get in touch with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The Clemson Hotline is always open. And I want to thank, you heard the commercial there for Cross Creek Timber and Cross Creek Realty. Steve Smith and his team, they are fantastic. They're actually our title sponsors over on Tiger Sport, on Tiger Net Talk, the show that you will be listening to on Wednesday. And I want to thank them here on the program for their support of all our programs. And we definitely look forward to a long-lasting relationship with them and continue to send folks their way. I hope you will. If you have land or timber that you need procurement on, or have them come out and evaluate your land, please give them a call at Cross Creek Timber or Realty. If you've got something to sell, or if you're looking to buy, CrossCreekRealtyLLC.com. All right, well, the Clemson Tiger women's basketball team finishes the season at 15-15, 7-11 in Atlantic Coast Conference play. 9-20 and 5-13 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. They'll play NC State, the same team they played earlier today, who is 15-15, 7-11 in the opening round of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Oddly enough, as tough of a season for this Clemson Tiger women's team as it was for Coach Coleman and her squad, and a lot of heat placed on her on the message boards. You don't hear it a whole lot about women's sports, but people have been very much all over her because of the defection of a couple of ball players early in the season. We've got some ideas about that, and we'll talk about it a little bit more after the basketball season, what happened there. But this team finishes with their highest seed since the 2007-2008 season. They had a couple of wins late in the year, got on a little winning streak, and I wouldn't be surprised, even though they lost both times they met NC State this season, I wouldn't be surprised if they found a way to get a victory. You know, it's always tough to beat a team 3 times, and there's a whole lot to play for. The one thing I was surprised about, though, looking at that NC State team, is just how big their girls are. And I don't mean tall, guys. And ladies, look, no offense. I'm not trying to be rude to any women out there. These were big girls. These girls were in no way, shape, or form did they have athletic physiques. It was unreal. Their point guard looked like she was about 5'6", 200 pounds. And that is not a joke. I'm not in any way, shape, or form making fun of her. She was fast. She was agile. She was huge. That's all I know. And by the way, don't forget this week, spring practice kicks off March the 6th. That's right. Wednesday, the Clemson Tigers get spring practice underway, and Chancey Stuckey, who was a guest with us not that long ago, is going to have an inside look at the Clemson offense and defense in a couple of segments coming up here throughout spring camp. Anyway, that's all the time we've got for today. Until next time, I'll talk with you right here on the Clemson Hotline. And as always, y'all take care now, and go Tigers!